Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the June 5th, 2023 Cumberland County Board of Commissioners meeting. At this time, I will call on Commissioner Adams for the invocation and prayer.
If you can stand, please. What a beautiful day that the Lord has given us.
Amen.
All right. Dear Heavenly Father, we just come to you again. We come to the throne just saying thank you. Thank you for allowing us to be here today, first of all, and be in good health and strength. Father, we'd ask you to bless everybody that's under the sound of my voice. We'd ask you that this meeting be conducted decent and in order, that you look down upon us, and that we think that all that we do for the citizens done in excellence in your name, that we're here for service, and that you bless each one of my commissioners that's here today. Touch their heart, Father, that they understand that the decisions we make govern the citizens of this community. Father, we ask this all in Jesus' name. Amen. We can do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
I don't like this.
Now we will move on for the Health Department. Them receiving their accreditation with honors. And that happened at the Accreditation Board meeting on May the 19th, 2023. So if I could have the Health Department staff join me at the podium.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, and congratulations. Let's see. The National Network of Public Health Institute awards this award program recognizes outstanding individuals and organizations that have made exemplary contributions to improving the public health. And so, I didn't see all this.
That's the wig part.
Okay. Okay. So at this time, I would like to present this to Dr. Jennifer Green and staff. And we're gonna take some pictures. So, let's come back here.
Well, this one is the one that says with honors. This is the other official document.
Are we supposed to be standing up?
Not yet.
Oh. You should have moved up. You shouldn't have been in the way of them.
Okay, now, everybody.
Y'all need to slide down a little bit.
Okay, everyone look at me. Very good. Congratulations. And if you all wish shake.
Congratulations.
So now we'll move on to WIC with the same group. Okay. The National Network of Public Health Institute Awards Program recognizes outstanding individuals and organizations that have made exemplary contributions to improving the public's health. The Fort Bragg Public Health Partnership was selected for the 2023 NNPHI Public Health Innovation Award. The Public Health Innovation Award celebrates entrepreneurship in public health. The Fort Bragg Academic Practice Partnership is a great example of entrepreneurship and innovation nationally. In 2019, the Fort Bragg Public Health Partnership was formed with an initial focus on tobacco control and prevention efforts, and has grown to encompass other health issues across the installation. The Public Health Partnership consists of Fort Bragg Department of Public Health, Cumberland County Department of Public Health, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, the University of North Carolina at Greensboro, the University of Virginia, and the North Carolina Tobacco Prevention and Control Branch. The award committee was particularly excited about the partnership with the military and the different strategies implemented to address food insecurities. In 2022, we began to develop a plan to embed a WIC office on Fort Bragg. In February 2023, the WIC office launched clinics 1 day a week and will officially open on March the 7th, and has officially opened on March the 7th, 2023, to serve the Fort Bragg community. In June 2021, the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners ratified a resolution to establish the first ever joint county military food policy council. A $1 million grant through, $100 million grant through the Healthiest Cities in Cumberland in Counties Challenging, let me read that again. Grant through the Healthiest Cities and Counties Challenge provided funding to address healthy food access and food insecurities in the Cumberland County and Fort Bragg communities. Cumberland County Department of Public Health and Fort Bragg Department of Public Health staff were recognized on May the 10th at an award ceremony in Washington, D.C. And you all have your award already?
We share it with Fort Bragg, so Fort Bragg has it right now.
Okay. Y'all gonna get it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
custody,
It's in the custody, yeah. Well, thank you all for all that you do, and congratulations. At this time, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. County Manager, are there any changes to the agenda?
No, Chairwoman, there's no changes to the agenda.
If I can get a motion.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Commissioner Jones?
That's a yes or hand.
Okay, now we will move on to the consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed from the I'm sorry, Commissioner Keith?
Yes, item 2E.
I didn't hear you.
Item 2E.
Okay.
And if I could pull item 2F.
Okay, there's a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of 2E and 2F. Is there a motion?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Commissioner Jones?
Commissioner Jones, motion to approve the agenda?
She on mute though.
I'm sorry, yes, I was having trouble with my mute, yes. Hello, can you hear me now?
Okay, thank you.
Hello?
Unanimous.
Thank
Can you hear
you.
me? Okay.
Commissioner Keith.
Good morning. I pulled item 2E. This is a contract agreement, and without getting too deep in the woods, it's with a contractor that we had some difficulty with that seemed to not make deadlines, not make budget, and I'll let the attorney speak to it, but the attorney had recommended that we probably not go into contract with this company in the future, and I was a little surprised to see them as the approving contract. Just up till last month, we were having discussions about the after action of this particular company. I don't see the wisdom of going with a company that we had a number of issues with on a contract, and so I'd like to open it up to any of the staff that would like to talk about it before I make a motion. Staff, I want to know the legal part.
This is some sort of subsidiary of ACOM, the engineering firm that did the 911 center. They do, this one does have a North Carolina office, but it's a subsidiary of ACOM.
Did you review the contract for this?
My office did, I'm aware of it. Chris reviewed it. I mean, the contract was fine in terms of the contract itself, but it's the company.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Keefe, Hank Graham with the Fayetteville Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. We assembled a subcommittee to review all of our proposed planning study response packages from a various group of, it was a group of 8 engineering and planning firms almost a year ago. And AECOM's, it is an international engineering and planning corporation or company, and this is a planning division office in Raleigh, North Carolina. The project manager for this office and this AECOM planning study is Joel Strickland. He still lives here in Fayetteville. He knows our area. He will be doing a planning study. It is not engineering at all. I was never aware of AECOM's work with the other project that has been problematic, but this is a different division, subsidiary, as the attorney stated, and it is planning, and I will be writing them hard as far as the efforts and work that we need to have them do.
Well, and I appreciate that, and I was kind of surprised that Joel Strickland is the point of contact on this. It seems a bit odd, but regardless if it's in my experience as a county commissioner, we sit up there, and I didn't expect you to know, because it was a completely different project. I didn't expect you to know that, but we know that.
Okay.
And everybody in this dais knows that, and staff, management staff knows that. So I was kind of surprised, and regardless if it's a subsidiary, just like us as county representatives and elected representatives, we're responsible for everything that happens underneath our umbrella. And, you know, if there is no penalty for poor performance, then we're not being good stewards of taxpayer money, in my opinion. And I don't know where this is going to go, but I'm gonna vote for denial of the contract agreement for consulting services for ACOM Technical Services of North Carolina Incorporated for Fayetteville Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. That's my motion.
Is there a second?
I didn't
I
think
will
so.
second.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All those in favor?
Voting in favor, Commissioner Council, Commissioner Stewart, and Commissioner Keefe. Those in opposition? And Commissioner Jones, are you in favor?
No.
In favor of the motion, what's
In favor of the motion
to deny?
to deny?
To deny?
Yes.
Yes.
So voting in favor of the motion to deny is Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Council, Commissioner Stewart, and Commissioner Keefe.
3-3.
No, 4-2. She voted in favor of the motion.
Commissioner Jones voted in favor of the
In favor
motion
of
to
the
deny.
motion,
So
so it's 4-2.
it's now a 4-2 vote.
Can you clarify that? Because she
Raised her hand for you all.
I think she said
But then she
opposed.
said, I'm voting to deny, like.
Can we get clarification?
Would the clerk read the motion back to
Do you
me?
want-
I'm
Read the
sorry.
motion again and just.
The motion is to deny, I'm sorry, I lost it.
ACOM.
ACOM, to deny ACOM
The contract.
the contract.
It is the ACOM Technical Services North Carolina, Inc. Consulting
I'm sorry.
contract.
I'm sorry. I do not want to deny.
That's what I
I'm
thought.
kind of off today. I'm sorry. My apologies. I'm in favor of the contract to go through.
Oh, okay. So it's 3-3. 3-3.
Motion failed.
I'm sorry about that confusion.
That's okay.
The motion fails, but it doesn't
Hectic morning
pass.
for me today.
Well, I do a motion to approve, and I don't know if anybody will change their vote, to approve the contract with ACOM, so I guess you gotta, I think he wanted to add something. I don't
You
know.
can come back to the podium.
Want to make the motion?
I'll second the motion.
Hold on. One more.
Okay, thank you.
We have
I
a meeting.
just wanted to add, I understand the issue with the firm, but the action itself, if I were to have to start over and select maybe the second ranking firm here, this is to spend, it is to establish a program to spend $31 million of transportation funding for the unit member local governments throughout the FAMPO area. We need to establish a program. We've never had this program established before. That's why we have $31 million. It's been accruing and growing every year. We need to spend this money or we're going to lose it through federal rescissions. And of course, the board can make their decision, but I started this last October with a bunch of contractual review and all of that, but we can definitely go to the second selected firm
Well,
as
let's have the motion, Commissioner Adams.
Move to approve the contract.
Second the motion.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Is to approve the
Voting in
contract with
favor is
ACOM
division
so they can
contract.
spend the $31 million.
Yes.
That we can't use because they haven't started.
If we
Well, this
don't
is the
spend it,
start.
we'll lose it.
What,
What?
that's not entirely true, is it? If we don't spend it, we'll lose it. And whose money is it? Is it county money? Is it federal money? Is it state money?
It's from a grant, right?
You can't
They
just
are-
throw out.
They are
It's
federal
grant money for
transportation
transportation.
dollars that are allocated to the Fayetteville Area Metropolitan Planning
And
Organization.
how many years is that? I'm sorry, Madam Chair, may I
Go
ask?
ahead.
And how many years has that been accruing?
Right now, I'm thinking it's 6 years that it's been accruing.
I just think it's a consent agenda item, and now we're throwing up $31 million like, oh, we got to do it today, and with a company that, and again, with a company that I believe did not have the best interests of the county in the thing. And now we feel like we're pressured into, if we don't take this $31 million that we've been accruing for 31 years, it'll be gone, and we'll never be able to use it again on a program that we've never had or never used. So I just don't understand the process of going through this.
Okay, there's been a motion to approve. There was second by Commissioner Faircloth. All those in favor?
Wait a minute,
Aye.
I've still got a question.
Okay.
What, do we start over at scratch?
No, there's three different companies.
We could move to the second ranking firm for this particular task on our ranking criteria sheet, which is a part of your agenda package. We could move to the second one. Hopefully, based on this vote, I would not have to go through the full, complete contract review process with that second ranking firm. We can go to the second one.
Well, let me.
Excuse me, I have a
guess-
question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Commissioner Jones.
Hopefully, this is the appropriate time to ask the question. I guess my concern is more of needing the money itself. As you all know, residents have reached out to us in regards to transportation, and I know that might seem like a lot of money, but then again, this new program will hopefully help the concerns of residents that reached out to all of us, Ms. Harris and others, when I was discussing, remember, the need of, they're asking us for more money in the first place for issues of, services for transportation for the ADA and other issues. So just I'm looking at in reference to, my concern is more of not having to start over and not losing these dollars that perhaps a new program can help, because all of it does fall into transportation, as, has been discussed before when this has been brought up. I understand Commissioner Keefe's concern about which contract in the company, but I guess my greater concern is the need of services and to lose money when we know, as you all know, that I brought up from residents saying to me, services that fall under that maybe can benefit from that. So I just want us hopefully to keep that in mind. And I would like to hear more, as he was stating, I am in favor of it, about the second company of who can get the job done. But I know that there is a need for support
What,
in that area of what we discussed last time before.
What-
That's all I have to.
what is your question? You said you had a question, or you just want to comment?
Yes, I guess my question is, well, maybe more, I guess, of a statement. If some of the other commissioners, I guess I want to say, could keep that in mind. Remember, we went
Okay.
round and round about dollars needing more money for transportation. So I guess my thing is, even though they're saying this is a new program, perhaps this can help. It all links together with transportation. I just want to make everyone mindful of that.
Okay, Commissioner Adams?
Because remember, remember, you all stated that this was going to be a part of the discussion when I asked the question at the budget meeting prior. I guess this all ties in to trying to provide these services, does it or does it not? To try to help with services in general for
Yeah,
the
that's-
overall program. That's my
Yeah.
question.
So,
Commissioner Adams?
Madam Chair, what I would recommend then, and I'll pull my motion if Commissioner Fairclough will allow me, is to send it back to FAMPO to look at the second one and that they could bring it back. I looked at the document, I can't tell which one was the second one because I see all the votes, but I can't tell. I can't tell because it's red, yellow, and different ones. And so instead of saying just go to the second one, because I don't even know what the second one is, and that it come back at our, and I guess they can call a meeting and come back at the mid-month board meeting.
Okay. We'll bring it back.
So that's just 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I have one more question. What's the time frame on being able to lose the money or keep the money? What's the time frame that we're looking at to make a rational decision? Before-
October 1st is the beginning of the federal fiscal year. If we do not start drawing the funds down, the Federal Highway Administration can begin to rescind or not allow us to collect an additional year or future year allocations. There's been no determination as to how much and actually when, but it's like the time is ticking where we haven't spent these funds and another year's worth of allocation, it will probably take us up to $35 million. I don't think we will get that. I've been told by Federal Highway Administration staff that we will not get additional allocations unless we spend these funds or begin to spend these funds. So that's where we are with that.
Thank you.
Okay,
So if everybody's in agreement, is to send it back to FAMPO?
Commissioner Adams, I'm sorry, Council.
If we can speed the process up, I'm in favor of going ahead and
That would help. That would help with this firm.
with this firm.
Yes, ma'am. That would speed it
Yeah.
up.
That's what I'm in favor of doing.
Commissioner Adams?
Huh? Mine was to send it back and let them bring it back at the, our second meeting this month. And they can have, so he can take it back to FAMPO and they can understand what the commissioners discussed. Because they weren't privy to that information when they chose that firm, I guess.
Did I just hear her say that
She was gonna change her vote, I thought. I don't know, but I don't think there's the urgency. I think we can do it at that
I changed
mid-month.
my vote.
Oh,
I rescinded my vote.
oh,
I think I can't.
well, I guess I gotta have a motion on the floor.
Well, there's already a motion on the floor,
Which one is that?
the one you just made.
Well, I don't know where we are.
So,
I don't know where we are.
okay,
There's not a second to that motion, so that
correct.
died.
All right, so,
I guess Commissioner
Let-
Fairclough may have one.
I didn't second that.
Oh, right, that one
okay.
died.
So, in the interest of clarity, we'll begin this motion, this process over again. Commissioner Keith?
Madam Chair, if I may, Commissioner Adams, we never did get a set vote on Commissioner Adams' motion.
Nobody seconded.
No, your first motion to approve it.
I withdrew that motion.
But it was second and.
It was seconded. If Commissioner Fair,
That's fine.
I'm okay whichever way this goes. I wanted to.
All right. Take that motion. He's right. Okay. Was the motion to approve it?
There was a motion to approve it that was properly seconded.
Okay, there was a motion to approve. What's the company?
ACOM.
ACOM. It's been a motion to approve ACOM's contract, and it was seconded by Commissioner Faircloth. All those in favor of approving this contract?
That's the original,
Yes.
right, that we're gonna work on.
Voting in favor is Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Faircloth, Commissioner Council, and Commissioner Adams. Voting in opposition, Commissioner Stewart and Commissioner Keefe.
Okay. Now we'll move on to Commissioner Adams.
Thank you. I just pulled this because I don't think it should be lost in the consent agenda, which is the approval of the proclamation recognizing Fort Liberty. I was at the ceremony on last week, and Fort Bragg did an excellent job, General Donahue, in terms of doing the mission of changing Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty. And I think that if we're going to do a proclamation of this, and it's in there, I won't read the proclamation. Madam Chairwoman will do that, but I think it's important that our community knows that we support General Donahue and the military in their transition. And so I would ask to approve the proclamation recognizing Fort Liberty.
Is there a second? It's been moved and
Second.
properly. It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you. We'll now move on to items of business. County Manager.
Yes,
Greer,
the-
if you will introduce the item and the presenter.
Yes, the first item of business is the consideration of the Cumberland County Juvenile Crime Prevention, or JCPC, funding allocations for the upcoming fiscal year. Courtney McCallum, Justice Services Director, will be presenting this item.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Annually, the Department of Public Safety, Department of Adult Corrections, Juvenile Justice makes funding available for counties for our early intervention programs for our juvenile justice court system. This year, Cumberland County is projected to receive 1.1, okay, here we go.
1 million.
$1,119,291. And that is for this upcoming fiscal year. The local match funding will be 20%. As you see in the attachment is a chart of what each program in Cumberland County is projected to receive in our state funding, including the local match that each program, which will be either cash match or in-kind, that particular program will be providing.
Can you mute your phone, Commissioner Jones? Thank you. I'm sorry.
You're fine. Most of these totals are similar to what these programs received last fiscal year. We are on track of spending our program funding for this year. And so this is the allocation that the state will provide for our programming for the next upcoming fiscal year.
Thank you. Are there any questions, Commissioner Adams?
I don't have a question, but I will disclose that as to Fairmont Urban Ministries, and I've done a form to JCPC as well as to the manager, that my wife does serve on that board but does not receive any benefit. I don't receive any benefit from that. That goes directly to that. Because she's a judge, she can't solicit money anyway, so just to disclose that, but not a conflict.
Okay.
And I would move to approve the funding for Juvenile Crime Prevention Council.
Second.
I'm the chair of that.
Is there discussion on the motion? Is that what that is? Okay.
Did you sign the disclosure form?
Yes.
Yeah. If he signed the disclosure form, it's okay.
Okay. It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you. We'll now move on to the healthcare delivery services at the Cumberland County Detention Center. Manager Greer.
Yes, Vicki Evans will be presenting this. Vicki Evans, Finance Director, will be presenting this item. We had to go back out for bid for the healthcare contract with the Sheriff's Office or the Detention Center, and we had the results, and she's going to go through the recommendation.
Good morning, Chairwoman Stewart and Commissioners.
Good morning.
The memo that I provided to the agenda, it goes into detail about the history leading up to today's recommendation of a provider for the Detention Center Health Services, and the RFP summary results are at your places. Recently, a cross-departmental review panel consisting of 2 representatives of the Sheriff's Office Detention Center, the Public Health Director, and representatives of the County Manager's Office and Finance met and evaluated the proposals. The evaluation criteria of the RFP included 4 different areas: price, past performance and experience, technical and management, and acceptability to the sheriff. Based on those criteria, the review panel collectively scored and resulted in WellPath LLC being the highest scoring based on the best overall value method of award. You'll note that WellPath was not the lowest cost proposal submitted, and the reason for the scoring of that is because the high score for cost was offset by very low scoring points in the other 3 areas. The recommendation is to award RFP number 23-21-DC2 Detention Center Healthcare to WellPath LLC based on the best overall value method, and direct staff to bring a contract with the selected vendor to the board for final approval at a future meeting.
Commissioner Adams.
I
Thank you,
just-
Ms. Evans.
I got a couple of questions, I guess. And I'm just going to go to WellPower because that's who y'all selected. So on price, I don't understand, because if I look at price, and then I go down, it says maybe an additional $430,000 sign-on bonuses. I don't understand that when they go down and say they're going to retain staff a little bit lower. That doesn't, I don't understand why I'm giving them, and it says may. And so either it's in the RFP or it's not in the RFP. I mean, once we approve this, are you saying I'm going to approve somebody the authority to give them another $430,000?
Not exactly.
Okay.
So within each proposal, there were costs presented that were inside, which means that the provider will directly provide the services, and then they estimated external services that would have to be provided by someone else. And so, for example, sometimes detainees might have to go to the hospital. And so they use their own projections to determine what those outside costs are. And so it's within our control to determine what that max cost could be for outside services. So it's like pass-through. We currently have that with Southern Health Partners.
Oh, because it
We
doesn't say
have
that,
that
it doesn't say
arrangement.
that on any of the other ones. That's why I'm just trying to figure out why it was in that one and not the other ones.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, specific to staffing, what they put in their proposal was a recruitment, basically recruitment bonuses for the people who they recruit to come work for them at the detention center.
So they're telling me they don't have people? They're going to have to go recruit people to be able to do, see, that doesn't make sense to me. If you're going to apply for my RFP, I would think you would have the necessary staff to be able to do it. Why would you even bid if you don't have the staff to do it? So if I award this contract, they don't get the staff, where am I?
They're saying they're going to retain.
Well, I saw that they said they were going to retain, but then I looked back
Yeah,
at Southern Health, who said they had to ban 20 people and had problems with those employees. I don't know that I want those employees from Southern Health.
Right.
And so, but if I'm going out to bid for a contract, I make sure I got the necessary already to be able to get the bid. You see what I'm saying? I mean, so I'm gonna bid on your contract. I'm only gonna go get these people if I win this contract, I guess that's what they said. But I wanna charge you for me going to get these people. That doesn't make sense. I can't, that just does not sound, that doesn't sound, you know, in the fiduciary duty to be able to do that. You either got the people or you don't. So if you want the contract, I'll give you the contract, but I'm not gonna pay you to go recruit people.
Okay.
That's what companies do.
And
Companies go and do that on their own. I mean, we have to recruit our own people for the county. So that's a cost you bear when you get a contract. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying, and so this particular proposal, they offered a starting date 60 days after their notification. And so I believe the 60 days is to allow them to find people. However, I still see your point.
I don't have a problem with them going to find people. I mean, they do whatever they want to, but I shouldn't pay you to go find people. That's what I'm saying. I'll give you the contract, but I'm not gonna pay you to go recruit people and hire people. That's a part of your cost of doing business.
Okay, so I believe that the cost is to pay hiring incentives for, so the cost is about offering the people,
I understand.
the positions, an incentive amount for them to come to work.
Right. Basically, they don't have the people, so I gotta entice people to come to work here.
Yes.
And I want you to pay me to entice my employees to come to work here, which is a cost of your doing business.
Yes, and so if they don't pay an incentive bonus, then the county does not have to pay that amount.
But I don't understand why I'm having to pay that anyway. I mean, I think that's a cost of doing business.
I do, I understand, I can't defend.
I know, I'm just saying,
except to
I mean,
say
that's just a
that
problem.
it's
That's just a
hiring
problem I
is
have.
difficult.
The next thing I have is, and maybe because of the way y'all brought this, but I looked at all of these and in the ones that y'all didn't choose, you highlighted in red what the issues were. So on the well path, you got past performances and experiences, and you did not highlight, did not provide litigation and financial statements. But way back here on the other one, that was one of the highlights that they did not, current and past litigation not provided. That's up on the advanced correctional, and y'all highlighted that in red. Why is this not highlighted in red? I mean,
That was on me.
Oh.
That was on me. I did not highlight the items of WellPath that were, that may have led to a not perfect score, whereas on the other ones, I did. That's not on the
Right.
panel.
But it's just amazing to me that I went back to, and we just got this, so I'm not trying to beat up on you or anything, but when they had all of that about current and past litigation not provided, provided letters of recommendations, not done all that, they had a possible total of 15 and they got 2.5. WellPath didn't provide any of that. They had a possibility of 15 points and got 12. I mean, I don't understand how one cannot get it, and this one gets the almost 12, and they didn't provide anything that the other one didn't provide.
Was there an algorithm for that one? There was a formula. There was a formula for that scoring criteria, and so the panel followed what that scoring criteria was.
But they didn't provide anything like the other one didn't provide anything. I don't understand the algorithm then. Why wouldn't it do the same thing on the other one? I just didn't. And then under the technical and management, where they got 28 points and they're going to retain.
Okay, so under past performance and experience, this, the provider that you're talking about, ACH, that provider has done business with one county in North Carolina, compared to WellPath, who has experience in current contracts in many
Well, let me
North
ask you,
Carolina counties.
And did you call those and ask them
One
whether?
of, yes, one of the panel members did reach out to them, yes.
To those counties?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
To
because
the
that's not in here.
counties?
See, all of that's not in here. I do see that they have.
To the detention
they're with
centers.
Brunswick, Durham, Guilford, and New Hanover. Durham has major problems in their jail. So I hope that ain't where we reached out to. Where we reach out to? Because Durham
That
has,
is one of them.
yeah, they have major problems in their jail.
Okay.
They've had major problems in their jail. I don't know if under the health part though, but, and it says we'll provide upon them. It seems as though they're driving this train is, I'm gonna give you this stuff if I get this contract. I'll provide this if I get it. I'll do this if I get it. I don't, it just,
The panel noted that as well. They did.
but even with all of that,
They are still,
I'm gonna go
they're
with the
still
panel
the highest
because y'all
scoring.
had more information because all we got is this right here. So evidently there must be a lot more, but the price is much higher too.
It is.
Commissioner
madam.
Keith.
Thank you. Vicki, who was on the panel?
By name,
Sure. Or position?
the chief jailer, I believe is the title, a captain at the jail, the public health director, an assistant county manager, and the deputy finance officer.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is your grade sheet. I'll be honest with you, you should be in marketing. I mean, you made two look horrible and one look like it was amazing. I mean, it was, you have acceptability by the sheriff. Everybody else is a 0, and one company comes in at 23 out of 25. And then, I mean, past performance and experience. I had a lot of the same questions that Commissioner Adams did, is one company has 4 different places, but we don't talk about how much litigation is in those places. I'm sure there's some.
They didn't provide it.
Right. So, but we made a very big point to say current past litigation, that we have all these lawsuits in place, and that scared me as much as anything else to the attorney's office. But, and the other part about it, we talked about significantly amount of money. We're talking in excess millions of taxpayer dollars. Now, most of us on the board will remember that public health used to do this. And it was about 5 years ago or 6 years ago that, based on the recommendation of the sheriff, that we switched, which was a significant cost savings. It was very expensive to go through public health. I do remember that.
It was.
But we're kind of right back to where we were financially about what it almost cost us with truly, and Vicki, please don't take this wrong, but there's not much meat to the justification other than, or it was either left out or it's very opinion.
They make a whole lot more than we did.
Yeah, and that's
Y'all
what.
looked at everything.
Yeah, and
Yes.
to the health directors, we talked about acceptability to the sheriff.
Okay, thank you.
But is it acceptable to the health director? You were on the panel, I'm assuming so, but I've never seen anything so one-sided in all my years of being a commissioner. I mean, it's,
Left over to we just banned.
well, then, were these the only 3 that applied?
These were the only 3, and some of the items that were in the other 2 were very significant in terms of past performance and the, in particular around Southern Health Partners, the past performance and the litigation part. We took off points because WellPath didn't provide that information, and then the same thing for the other company, and we only could score based off what we received from Southern Health Partners. And then the formula, it's weighted based off of the others. And so the things that we were provided were very significant for the other 2 bidders in terms of Southern Health Partners and ACH. So that's the difference in the scoring is the ACH didn't have the appropriate accreditation in North Carolina, and so and the ability to fully provide jail health services in North Carolina. So that was part of the reason for their score.
They're in Vance County now, though, right?
They are in Granville, Vance County, and so that was one of our questions was, how do we provide services? How are you providing services in another county? I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the sheriff's staff did reach out to Granville, Vance County about their services. about the services that were being provided. So the difference in the weighting of the score, I completely understand what you're saying, and we had that discussion too. It was the level of significance of concern with the other two vendors.
Okay.
So why would they even be brought forth then? I mean, why did they even get in the, if they're not in North Carolina?
Well, they are in North Carolina in one county.
Well, but I mean, you said they weren't certified, I mean,
Well, they had some, they didn't have all of the accreditation things. Those were things that in their RFP, they said they were working on. And
If I could have a follow-up.
So they were brought forward because they were considered responsive.
Okay, yeah. And Jennifer, this might be better for you. So basically, one of the reasons that we hired Southern Health Partners was a recommendation of the sheriff, and they had a lot of experience in North Carolina. So if we take WellPath, who has 4 different counties, I believe, and Advanced Correctional, which has 1 county now, that's 5 counties. We got 100 counties. I don't know how many jails that comes out to, but what is everybody else doing?
so most counties in North Carolina use Southern Health Partners, or a significant number. And I don't have the percentage of the counties off the top of my head that have Southern Health Partners, but many counties do. And I'd have to go back and tell you what the percentage is, 'cause I don't know
I think
that.
that was one of the selling points that they had when they first came to us 5 or 6 years ago. But, I mean, the bigger you are, the bigger target you are, and the smaller you are, you're a smaller target. So, I mean, we're talking about a $6 million decision here on information we just received. So, I mean, and I understand the timeline, but it seems to be that we're getting steered into a path. But thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Fairclough.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've got a number of questions.
Take it off.
The first question, what is the recommendation? Is it WellPath?
Yes, sir.
When was that decision made by the whomever, by
The
staff?
panel, when, the panel scored on, what?
Just what day? What, 2 days ago, 4 days ago, a week ago?
It was last week, right?
I think it was the week of the 22nd.
Okay.
Okay.
And the current provider is,
Southern Health
Southern Health.
this
Partners.
current provider,
Southern Health.
Southern Health. Okay. Where does this, how do we fund this? Is this general fund money, or just exactly what is this?
It's general fund money. Right now, we currently have approximately $3.5 million budgeted for the upcoming budget year. Can I add?
$3.5 million. And
3.5 million.
And the low bid here is $8 million?
Yes. It would be my thought, well, it would be my practice to meet with, if WellPath was awarded to move forward, we would meet with them and negotiate out the things that we could not pay for or we do not need, like those recruiting bonuses and incentives. So things would be negotiated out, and then we would come to a lower price or a lower contract amount. In the interim, while we're trying to transition, if this is the path we go, Public Health will provide coverage for health services up until we get a formal contract, which will probably be somewhere in the September, maybe October. And once we get, then the start date would be probably September, October for WellPath is chosen. But I anticipate a very reduced contract.
Okay, well, my next question was, is there really a $5 million difference here? Because that's what we're talking about, and that's local money. But you answered part of that because you said you can get that $5 million down.
Yes, we would have to look at I would have to go through the details with everybody that was on the panel and make sure that everything is in there, or what they saying that they're going to provide that we actually need.
Well, I agree very much with Commissioner Keefe, who I think I heard him say that, you know, this is coming on us all this morning. It's up to a $5 million decision. I mean, the total price is over $8 million. You know, without negotiation, the total price is $8 million, but it's a $5 million difference from what we have. And I don't have enough. You know, I read this pretty thoroughly, and I said, well, for $3 million versus $8 million, that's a no-brainer. But now the information coming in tells me that it's not a no-brainer. And what we typically always did in the past, and you know, the past is no predictor of the future, but, in this case. But we always had the committee structure, and when we got under the gun on something like this, if we had time, we always referred it to a committee for further study. We didn't just make a decision right off the bat. And I'm not ready to make a decision here. I'm not ready to vote for anything here.
Commissioner Adams?
And I guess there's a couple of questions. Well, not a question, I guess it's a suggestion. Because as I'm looking at this and I'm looking at what some of the stuff for Southern Health and even with the attorney, some of that looked like it would have been liability to the county, but we were never notified of that. So some reporting conditions within that RFP needs to be, that I know we do at our agenda setting, we get some information about how what they're doing with the doctors and all of that.
Just
But
a
that-
count.
Huh?
A count.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is, I mean, I think that some of this that's in this information should have been provided to the commissioners to be able to know. Now, it didn't get to that point, but I think there needs to be some report, and we've talked about this a number of times of what's reported. The health department used to come back and give us detailed reports about some of the things that happen in there. So I think that's one of the things that we need to do. And I guess going back to Commissioner Fairclough, the contract with Southern Health ends when?
June 30th.
Okay. So, and then I go back to the manager. I guess you were saying from June 30th that the health department would step in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I go to my health director, is why y'all didn't bid on it? That's my next question.
Can you put that question in form of
No, I mean,
proper
she might
English?
tell me that she
Proper
ain't
English.
got the staff to do it.
Well,
But
we
I'm
don't
doing
current-
sign-on bonuses for these other people, but go ahead.
Well, we don't currently have the staff to do it, and so we would, and we used to be the jail health
Right.
provider, but we did, and I think I wasn't here at that time, so we used to be the jail health provider.
Well, I can
and-
tell you what happened on that is that we didn't seek, we didn't lose it, but we didn't seek accreditation of the health department to do it. That was the issue way back then. It wasn't because we lost it, we just didn't file the paperwork. And so from there, and the sheriff's attorney and the sheriff at that time came and said that they wanted to do the RFP to bring in, and then it was Southern Health that ended up getting the contract.
And
So
that was one of the.
before you.
And
That was way
that was
before
before,
you.
and that was one of the requirements in the bid was to be an accredited agency, which
Y'all are not.
we would not have
Okay.
been. And we're accredited for
Not
the health
because-
department, but we're not for
For the
the,
jail.
for the detention
Okay,
center, yeah.
I got you. All right, so that takes me to all of that. I guess that's also all of mine. But I guess, so come June 30th, the contract with Southern Health is gone.
Yes, they have submitted a notice of termination, yes.
We probably should have done that. But that's neither here nor there. So in place of that, so the health department is going to step in.
Yes, we've already talked with them, and they've agreed to step in at the most for 6 months at the most. So if we come to an agreement with WellPath, it would probably be a 6 months exposure for the contract, and I anticipate with the $3.5 million we already have for this budget, it'll be, we can do it. But again, we got to take out the stuff that we don't need.
So my question then, which goes to Commissioner Fairclough, if I've got 6 months, why I got to approve it today? I mean, I don't have to approve it today. You can go negotiate that with WellPath and actually bring me back some legitimate costs as opposed to, I'm just trying to figure this out. And I think,
In order to.
go ahead, let me know.
To, I guess, close out the RFP, we need to award. But award before contract.
Well, I understand, but I mean,
But
why do I
I-
have
but
to,
I'm- but
why do I have
based
to
on the
award
new
today?
timeline-
Okay, it's my RFP.
Yes.
And so whenever we make that decision, if we put it off today, doesn't really,
You're right.
stop this RFP. I'm not saying get rid of this.
Okay.
This is the RFP.
You're
We were
right.
asking for some additional information from the committee or whatever, and then come back to make that vote. So
Yes.
does that, I don't see where that kind of, I think Dr. Green said, don't prolong this, because I don't want to be there more than 6 months.
Yeah.
I understand that part.
I guess my question is, so I think.
Come to the mic, Dr. Green.
Is to move forward with, I guess, which direction do you want the committee to move in? What additional information do you want from the committee? And then what direction would you like us to move in, so we know where to go?
Make the motion.
Well, hold on.
Well, that's
No motion yet, because Commissioner.
Well, let me do this. But I don't know. And
Okay.
I will tell you I don't know, because that's not what I do.
Okay.
I think that's staff. I really do. I think that's what you all do, and you tell me what it is that we need to do. I think you hear the concerns is price. The concern is a sign-on bonus. Concern is whether you, in terms of reporting. Those are the things I think we do as policymakers to setting what the concerns are. Then I trust staff. I trust you all to then know what to do, because I don't know. And I'll tell you I don't know, and I'm not trying to get into the weeds of it. I'll just tell you what my concerns are from the top, and y'all have the expertise. She got the finance, you got that, and here's over here with the staff, and I trust you all to be able to do that. Just got questions on the way it sits now, if that makes sense to you. Does that give you some kind of?
I think so.
Okay, thank you.
So I think you could award, and I'm not saying today, but award the bid conditionally on an agreed-upon contract.
I don't
That
feel
comes back,
comfortable.
that comes back
I don't-
to the
I've got a
board.
question,
One moment, please.
and
I don't think anybody feels comfortable awarding a bid, and I don't even think it makes sense to award when we're still talking about negotiation.
Go ahead to her question, and I'll come back with a question, because she has.
Let me hear from our county attorney real quick.
Since you have the authority under this RFP to reject all bids, you also have the authority to suspend action until you receive further information from staff on specific questions. And each of you can ask the questions that you want staff to address, outside this meeting, but individually. But just suspend the action today.
Okay. Commissioner Jones?
I was just going to agree with you. I was going to agree with you, with everybody on the panel. I'm just not comfortable today.
We can't hear you, though.
We can't hear you well. But I heard you say you're not in agreement as well. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
And I guess, because I don't know how these things work, and I'll go between you and council, is that it's an RFP, so can you negotiate with one person out of the RFP? I guess that's where, and I guess we can suspend, and you have to ask every one of these the same questions. And that's where, I don't want to get into the point that we're going to talk to this one company and negotiate with them and not negotiate with the other ones. I mean, I feel, and I think that's where you're going, is that you don't want to get into the point of the RFPs. And so we did an RFP.
And legal issues.
We got 3 people back, and you don't want to get sued by the other 2 companies that you are here now going outside of this RFP. Is that, come on, Vicki, speak to me now.
It is.
I
That
think
is-
that's what we're talking about. You were sitting there
Yes.
mighty quiet. So,
Yes.
and I think you're saying just suspend the whole thing.
I've heard for the first time today, and I wasn't involved in reviewing this stuff specifically anyway, someone that's in my office, but there are some legal, I mean, I thought I heard Dr. Green say that the RFP required them to be accredited to provide the service in North Carolina, but one of these firms is not, but will still consider. I mean, there's some legal issues like that I would like to ask.
Well, I understand what Dr. Green said. They were a responsibility. Then you can just, inside the RFP is that you
The
don't meet
score.
this and you didn't get the score.
That's
So I do
right.
understand that part. That wasn't, that wasn't a major part to me, because you're looking at the responsive bidders to the RFP.
And
Then
those
after
were the
that,
ones
once
that
you
were
look at that,
reviewed.
if you don't meet this, then you don't get this contract.
Correct.
Which then would have gotten them out of the game anyway. And then you only really have, you got 3 people, but you only have 2 vendors, which is Southern Health and WellPath. And the only problem I have, and I will tell the commissioners is that if that's the issue, then Advance is not one that you can
Eligible.
choose, because they don't even meet the criteria. Two, you don't want Southern Health because of the issues. That just leaves you with WellPath,
Right.
unless you start the whole RFP process over again. So, I mean, putting it off doesn't do you any good. It's the better principle, the better part to me is to vote for WellPath, conditioned upon meeting these criterias to be able to do that. I mean, that's what you got. And if you don't meet it, you got to start the RFP over again, but at least you are there. And that protects you from being sued by these other two people of having somebody go out and negotiate with one company over the other. Am I in the ballpark?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That was a hard way to go. So I'll make the motion that we approve WellPath.
Without negotiation?
With the negotiate,
Well.
I'm sorry, with all the negotiation, and bring it back to, for final contract approval.
But aren't we getting into your concern? That we're approving
Well, we're
a
gonna
contract
select them
based
as
on
the
an
RFP.
based on an RFP? And what you said was 100% correct on everything, which it just pains me to say that sometimes. But if it's an RFP and they put a thing in, and you can't go back
Well,
and.
But even when they did it, they put may need this, may need that, so I think there's a negotiation part in
There
there.
is.
So you can select them, I think in the RFP, I can select the person, and if it doesn't come to the fruition, I don't have to do the contract. So I think the negotiations from staff to be able to do that, to get it down.
So I wouldn't technically call it negotiation.
Right, okay.
But there are some areas, like the number of staff. The number of staff that they have put in the RFP is almost double what the staffing is right now. And so you're right about the wording of may,
Right.
because if it takes half of that staff, then based on the staff cost, then it would
comes
be a
down.
lower cost.
So it's not negotiation, it's just to see what we need once they
Need.
get inside the jail to determine all of that.
Yes,
And so we take the word negotiation out.
Yes,
Award
please.
the contract, and then staff will have discussions with what needs to be done through the health department and through staff as to what we need.
correct.
Okay, that would be my motion.
Commissioner Fairclough.
I'll second the motion, ma'am.
I was going to ask for a clarification on exactly what the motion is, because I heard
Right.
about 14 paragraphs of commentary before I heard that's my motion. Can I ask for
Yes.
that?
Oh, yeah, you can.
And I was going to second it
Okay.
if I
Well-
liked it, but since it's already been done, I won't
Okay.
worry about it. But I would like
Right.
clarification.
Well, mine is, and I understand what.
Can I hear from the
what-
clerk, please?
Well, I don't know if she knew what I said, but anyway.
Let's hear what she says, and then you can correct it if it's not right.
What I have here is that Commissioner Adams made a motion to approve with conditions, and staff go back and have discussions with WellPath and work to bring down the contract to a lower amount.
And so okay, that was kind of my motion before Vicky. I think we're trying to get away from the negotiation part so the other two people don't sue you, is to award the contract to WellPath, and with staff, then looking at the necessities for what needs to be done in the jail.
Correct.
That's a better motion.
Yes.
Yes, that's a
Yes.
better motion.
Yes.
And second by,
Second.
it's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Voting in favor, Commissioner Fairclough, Commissioner Adams, and Commissioner Keefe. Vote,
And Commissioner
and
Jones.
Commissioner Jones. Voting in opposition, Commissioner Stewart.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where does Jeanette go on? She votes for
Four.
Jeanette's yes.
And if you're not here, you always end it.
Okay, and I will note that Commissioner Council has left with prior approval. Now we'll move on to the item 3C, Joint Fort Bragg and Cumberland County Food Policy Council name change. Manager Greer.
Andrea Tebby will be presenting this item, clerk to the board.
So in speaking with Dr. Green, we noticed that the Food Policy Council had been approved by the Board of Commissioners via a resolution. So to stay in compliance, we ask that the Board of Commissioners approve the name change from Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty on the Food Policy Council.
Are there any questions?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you. At this time, I will call on Vice Chairman Adams for nominations.
Okay, that takes us to the Fayetteville Cumberland County Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Does any commissioner have a nomination? If not, the Fayetteville Parks and Rec recommends Vicki Mullins. The Juvenile Crime Prevention Council recommends the following individuals for nomination: Mike Fiala for the Juvenile Defense Attorney, at-large representatives Dr. Antonio Jones, Dr. Mark Kendrick, and Dr. Jones and Kendrick completed the second term. JCPC has recommended both for a third term. They don't have anything in their bylaws not allowing people to continue on. Persons under the age of 21, Daisha Baldwin. Local management, managed care, mental health, Teresine Garner. She would be moving from her current at-large representative to the local management and managed care position. And the following nominations require Board of Commissioner official appointment, as they have replaced a previous designated member. So this is a motion to approve these. George Hall for local superintendent or designee. He's out at the school board. Sergeant Stephen Hodges with the Cumberland County Sheriff's Department. Attorney Brandon Bruce, which is with the District Attorney's Office. And Corey Williams, which is with the Director, for the Director of Social Services designee. That's a motion. If I can get a second on that.
That's not a motion, is
Yeah, the motion on the appointment of the final four. The first three were
it?
nominations.
Yes, I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
That will take us to the Joint Fort Liberty and Cumberland County Food Policy Council with one vacancy. And that nominee would be Kenneth Bailey. He's an employee of Cumberland County. He's in support of being on the council as his role, and it complements the work with his employer. At the May 15th meeting, he was nominated to fill the vacancy, and the members who work in the field of healthcare, public policy, food insecurity, and adult care. Thank you. And that takes us to the appointments. The Joint Fort Liberty and Cumberland County Joint Food Policy Council. Motion to approve the nominees of Katrina Foxworth, which is the co-chair, and the military from Fort Liberty, and Shannon Gettings, member who works in the field of healthcare, public health, food insecurity, food access, or child and adult care. If I can get a second.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you, Commissioner Adams. At this time, we'll now recess the Board of Commissioner meetings and convene to the Norcross Water and Sewer District Governing Board meeting. If I can get approval, the Norcross Water Sewer District items of business. Manager Gray, are there any items?
Yes, there's approval of condemnation of the Northwest Lift Station lot. County Attorney Rick Moorfield will be presenting this item.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Commissioners, this is a matter that the board discussed in closed session back some time ago. I gave you a copy of the closed session minutes for that, September 10th, 2020. And with everything else going on with the pandemic, the process, the whole project sort of slowed down, but it's back urgently to move this forward now. This is, and I provided in the package all the documents necessary to verify the resolution that I'm asking you to adopt, including a picture of what this looks like. And as you can see, there's an existing 25 by 25 foot easement. The Norcrest does not own the property, it's just an easement adjacent to Dunn Road there, on which this brick structure is built, and behind it is a SCADA radio tower and a tank, which you can't really see. You can just see the corner of it. Each of those encroach, or the tank encroaches, I think the support rock things on the tower encroach off of the easement, and they also need vehicular access behind. So for that reason, and upgrades are being made to the system, particularly at this pump station. They're asking to increase, the engineers are recommending, the plan is for it to increase to a total size of 55 by 45 feet rather than 25 by 25. It'll take over the whole 25 by 25. So this is a request and a recommendation from me as the attorney for Norcrest that you condemn the entire 44 by 55 parcel and take ownership of it. Easements work for underground stuff, but this property with the building and the tower and the tank on it and those are permanent things. There's no other use of it. And we were unable, the board authorized me to try to work out a purchase. We were never able, got anywhere close to purchasing. The Bullards did not want to sell the property. And it's my recommendation that you allow us to move forward with a combination of this 45 by 55 acre parcel at a price of $2,000. The updated appraisal of it, which was just done in May, is about $800. I've got in there $825, I think it is. But I'd always started with $2,000, so I wasn't going to back off that. And it's I'd ask you to find that as fair market value, and let us proceed with that acquisition. And the property is described in the resolution that I'm asking you to adopt, which is on the property of George Edmund Bullard III and Ruby Warren Bullard with PIN 0570775917. It's adjacent to Dunn Road.
Commissioner Adams.
I just got a couple of questions, so, and it really got me now. So the tax value is $800.
The fair market value.
The fair market value is $800. You offered them 3, they turned that down. All right, so how much, did they ever come up with a price?
$12,000 for an easement.
For easement? $12,000 for easement on a useless piece of property?
Yes, sir.
That we just rezoned some property for them not long ago, less than a month ago. I don't remember. Which, is that close to this piece of property?
I don't think so. This is a 3.6 acre tract.
Yeah, but they own a lot of property
Yeah,
out there, and they
own a lot,
came
yeah,
just, and I'm just trying to figure out how close it
This
was
is
to
just a
this.
small part, and I don't know. I mean,
So why the 2,000 if the fair market value is 800?
because that's what I started out with when I first talked to
Well, I
Ms.
mean, but they
Bullard.
wanted 12, so, I mean.
Well, I mean, that was before she came back with the 12,000, but, and that was when I had the appraisal on the property then was 600. I was hoping to just get it done, because we already spent another $1,200 getting the appraisal updated. We're going to spend $200 file a lawsuit.
Well, but what I'm saying is, if you go, if you don't sell it and they file a lawsuit, you already at 2,000 on a fair market value 800. For somebody who asked me for 12, why wouldn't I just start at 800? If they're going to go to court, they're going to go to court.
Yes, sir. And it
You
looks
see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And when we're in court, they tell the jury, oh, that was never the fair market value. You see, they offered us 2,000 for it, so that couldn't have been the fair market value of it. Why wouldn't you just do it at the fair market value and then go from there? And that makes a lot more sense to me.
I mean, it makes more sense, but as I said, as I started out with 2,000.
Well, I understand. I think we started 800 at the fair market value.
Well, 825.
825, whatever.
Any other questions?
So I'd make a motion to go through with the combination, but start at 825.
I'll second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Unanimous?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I can correct that resolution before we move forward with that quickly today.
Okay, now we will adjourn the Norcross Water and Sewer District Governing Board meeting and reconvene the Board of Commissioners meeting. And now, if we can
Adjourn?
get a motion to adjourn.
Oh, I don't know if they got
No
a
closed session.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Unanimous?